Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's going to be a quick video talking about taking losses in trading. And I'm going to be very honest with you as if I'm speaking to a mate. Let's say Dan is someone I know who used to trade. And the reason I want to do that is because these things in theory seem really simple and easy to do, but actually putting them into practice is really hard. So I'm just going to be very honest with you there. I think there's a whole business in making this business seem easier than what it is. And as humans, we're very, very self-critical and we're very hard on ourselves. So the main thing I want to talk about today is replacing that with being honest with yourself. So instead of being self-critical and hard on yourself, let's talk about being really honest with yourself. So the first piece of advice that I want to give you is when you take a loss in trading, is step away from live market conditions and journal that trade. Now, I know that seems really simple, but what that is going to enable you to do is understand if this is something to do with your strategy or not. Is there something that you can take away in terms of a lesson that can help mitigate that loss in the future? If it can, or if there is rather, great, then you've learned something. It's not a lesson, it's not a loss, it's a lesson. However, if it is that there's nothing to learn from that trade, then also great, because we're understanding probabilities more. We're understanding our edge over time. We're collecting data. We're understanding our win rate better. And it doesn't matter how good of a trader you are going to have winning streaks and you are going to have losing streaks. That's inevitable. If you haven't been through a losing streak yet, get yourself prepped and ready for it, because this is what's going to set you apart from the masses. If you can learn to deal with losses and learn to pull yourself out of down draw, trust me, you're still going to be here in 12 months, 24 months, 5 years, and the rest would have quit traded and branded it a scam. I've seen it multiple of times. The second thing I really want to deter it and stop people from doing is revenge trading. Let me ask you, do you know any traders that have revenge traded and that are consistently profitable and doing multiple withdrawals over a period of time? Because I personally know none. And this is what can lead to people blowing up their accounts. But also these type of people really, and when I say these types of people, we've all been there, including myself. Rather, what it can lead to is attaching your self-worth to trading. So if you take a win, you're walking around with your chest puffed out, you're hitting big weights in the gym, you're having a laugh with your friends, family. But if you take a loss, you're a nightmare to be around. You're in a terrible mood. You're spending all day in bed. You're binge eating, all sorts. It can lead to a really, really dark place. And that's because your emotions are either on top of the world or bottom of the ocean. As traders, we need to learn to live in the middle. And that's not what's promoted on social media, but we need to have a balanced mind and be able to take wins and losses and understand probabilities, and let our edge play out over time. If you revenge trade and it works, if anything, that's worse, because you're building a bad habit. It's not going to continually play out in your favor, and it's going to be very detrimental to your career. Let alone you're not trusting your edge. So your data is completely obliterated the moment you revenge trade. Everything in terms of your data that you've collected and all of that patience and discipline and hard work that you've put in to collect that data goes out of the window. So tip number 2, don't revenge trade. If you need to take a break, great, step away, go for a walk, go for the gym, limit yourself to 1 loss a day. If you're privy to doing this and you say you've got a 2 loss a day limit, reduce that back to 1 a day until you build that skill up. The third tip that I can give you is write down or build out on Notion or whatever you want to do, a recovery strategy. So understand what that is and build one out. There's plenty of videos on YouTube in terms of Forex recovery strategies. And when this comes in is if you've taken 3 losses in a row, for example, or 5 losses in a row, or if you find yourself in deep drawdown. Now, I won't go into what that strategy looks like today, but in simplistic forms, one thing you can do is simply lower your risk. So if you've taken 3 losses, reduce your risk from 1% to 0.5%, for example. If you take another loss, it's not going to impact your capital as much, both physical and mental, and it's going to allow you to learn and understand what's happening to be able to then get yourself out of down draw. Once you start winning again, great. What you're doing is you're building up that confidence again. You're building that winning mindset. You're getting better over time. And then once you're at break even or you've started to take multiple wins in a row, you can always increase that lot size back up. And confidence as well is really important within trading. And this is why it's important to be disciplined. For example, an F1 driver, if they have a big crash and they dwell on that crash, and instead of analyzing the footage, perhaps learning from their mistakes or understanding where they've gone wrong or how they can take that line better into that corner next time round, they're focused on the negatives. They're focused on everyone talking about them on social media. They're replaying that crash. They're dreading that next race. What happens when that next race comes around, when that trader's in that when that driver, is in that negative mind space? Well, they're going to be more focused on keeping the car in one piece and getting around the track, fair enough. But they're not going to be racing. They're not going to be going for those gaps. They're not going to be in that flow state. They're not going to be performing at their best. And traders, it's similar to high performance athletes in some sense. We need to be performing at our best at all times, because one mistake can lead to that big crash, right? That's what we're trying to reduce, is the number of crashes. Inevitable, like an F1 driver, you're probably going to have a crash or two within your season. Same with trading. You're probably going to have a couple of periods of down draw throughout the year. You just have to learn to deal with that. So hopefully this video has helped. Let me know in the comments what your key takeaway from this video was. If you are enjoying my content, 80-90% of you aren't subscribed. It does help the channel grow, so it helps me personally. So please hit that button and let me know in the comments what you want to see next. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.